It is so wonderful to see so many faces in person here today. We're thrilled at the city congregation that we're going to be almost in terms of occupancy at our service, attendance, to 2019. It's been quite some time, so we're thrilled that that's happening today. My name is David Klein. I am the president of the board of the city congregation and one of the song leaders here today. I'm also available for gardening and some lighthouse repairs if you need. And I am joined today, of course, in leading song with Jennifer Klein. We are related. She is my wife. We have our musician, Jordan Klein, also related, our daughter. And now I would like to introduce the gentleman who will be leading us through the service today, Rabbi Tzemah, after I make one other announcement or two. The restrooms, just so you know, are through those doors and just down the hallway there. And the second announcement I'd like to make is masks are optional here today, and you should do exactly what makes you most comfortable. And again, thank you all for being here, and let me turn it over to Rabbi Tzemah.
Well, so wonderful to be here. Thank you so much. I want to say welcome to those who are joining us virtually. Some of us are sick with COVID and other illnesses or in the hospital. Just welcome everyone. Thank you for attending. Thank you for those who are attending in person. We want everyone to feel comfortable here. So if there are people who want to maintain farther apart seating at the back, there's farther apart seating. You're very welcome to use that. Otherwise, their water fountains are upstairs. If you need to fill up with water, we don't have water right over here. Kids services are through the door to my right at the 10th floor. If you're a parent with a child and want to be there, welcome everyone.
Okay, we are going to start our service, but I'm going to say now that our services are participatory, which means when we sing, we'd love you to sing with us. So let me talk about the singing part of this. Both Jennifer and I are basically altos. They call me a tenor, but it's a little iffy. So the majority of the women in the room should be able to sing with both of us right in the same octave. But there are some of you, some of the men, who will want to take it down an octave, and some women who may have that high soprano that can be up there in the stratosphere and you can take it up. But we have to sing where we're most comfortable, so that's where we're going to do it. And we are going to start off with Ashrenu, and we are on page 8, and sing along.
Ashrenu, matov kalkenu, umanayim gora leinu. Ashrenu, matov kalkenu, umayafi rushatenu. Ashrenu, matov kalkenu, umanayim gora leinu. Ashrenu, matov kalkenu, umayafi rushatenu.
In the 7th month, on the first day of the month, there shall be an assembly, a pause from work, a day of commemoration proclaimed by the sound of shofar. In Humanistic Judaism, Rosh Hashanah is an invitation to stop and reconsider our life choices, reaffirming some and changing others. May this new year bring to us and to the whole world life, peace, joy, wonder, renewal, and comfort. Today, all over the world, Jews once again assert our identity. We celebrate the beginning of yet another year in our own time on earth, a journey marked by tragedy, war, and death, and also by goodness, rejuvenation, and life.
Announcing the year. Ancient cultures and civilizations started calendars to mark the cycles of nature, the origins of their people, and the creation of the world. In the beginning, there were only solar days. Sunset was considered to be the end of the day and the beginning of the next, although the start of the day was shifted to midnight during the Roman era. The Jewish calendar still marks the start of each day at sunset. The calendar was originally agricultural and linked to the motion of the earth around the sun, marking years, with the motion of the moon around the earth marking months. Because the lunar year falls short of the solar year by approximately 11 days, the Jewish festivals, which are tied to specific harvests, would start to wander around the year. In order to preserve them in their seasons, the calendar is periodically adjusted. Our new year sometimes comes earlier and sometimes comes later. At first, the Jewish calendar did not mark the years by number, but described events that occurred in a particular year of a specific ruler's reign. It was only in the 10th century that the method of counting the year from the date of creation became popular. This was based on the assumption that human history may be equated with the physical history of the earth. According to that tradition, which is calculated by biblical generations, we now begin the year 5783. While we may still count the years in this fashion, we no longer believe this literally states the age of the world. Modern science has taught us that the universe is billions of years old. Nonetheless, we take pride in the longevity of our people, and we are proud of our continuity for at least 3,500 years. We have not just survived, we have thrived, and have significantly contributed to the advance of civilization, ideas, and values. So now, as we enter the new year, 5783, let us look back at our past with respect and appreciation. Let us make our own mark with conviction and dedication, and let us gaze ahead with hope and expectation.
So I just want to add one little thing for those that are coming up to speak, purely for safety purposes, because it's a little bit of a maze to get up here. We've put a microphone right down in the center, in the front. So if you're coming to sit prior to speaking, you'll just get up and you can come to this microphone so you don't have to trek your way through the candles and up the stairs here.
The summer ends, autumn arrives. We feel the passage of time. Nature changes, and so do we. The fall season fills us with the anticipation of new adventures. The tempo of study and work increases. The pace of seeing and doing quickens. As nature cools, our activity warms. There is much to do. We are bewildered by the options. Change makes us aware of what is permanent in our life. Seasons come and go. Others nurture us and die. Groups capture our loyalty and then lose their luster. Friends love us and depart. Landmarks arise and then decay. One reality persists amid all this drama. The power of our individual person outlasts each fleeting event and connects the chapters of our history. Attachments change, but our uniqueness survives. Rosh Hashanah is the day of aspiration. We need to revive old dreams that challenge us with their vision and shake our complacency. We need to confront the strength of our own individuality and test its skills. We need to fill our lives with the anticipation of noble goals and strive to reach them. We need creative discontent.
I have walked through many lives, some of them my own, and I am not who I was. When I look behind, as I am compelled to look before I can gather strength to proceed on my journey, I see the milestones dwindling toward the horizon. How shall the heart be reconciled to its feast of losses? In a rising wind, the manic dust of my friends, those who fell along the way, bitterly stings my face. Yet I turn, exulting somewhat, with my will intact to go wherever I need to go, and every stone on the road precious to me. Though I lack the art to decipher it, no doubt the next chapter in my book of transformations is already written. I am not done with my changes.
In each era of ancient Jewish history, festivals were created that were bound up with the ideas, the emotions, and the conceptions of the Jews of that particular era. It was not necessary to create new holidays. The old festivals were altered and recreated. A new spiritual content was poured into them, and they formed new traditions. The Jewish calendar begins in the fall with the celebration of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, the high holidays. For many Jews, this is a time of awe and reverence, a time to seek forgiveness for human sins through fasting and prayer to an omnipotent God. Humanistic Jews see Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur as an opportunity to affirm human power and human dignity. The high holidays are a time to consider the possibilities for change, for improvement, for happiness that we human beings can create ourselves. In acknowledging human courage and independence, we achieve human dignity. By adapting the words of our meditations to the meaning we intend, we can create a truly humanistic celebration of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. This compilation of readings is a combination of familiar passages and innovative language that together give evolving expression to our holiday themes.
United with Jews the world over, we gather to proclaim a new year. The many branches of this menorah represent the many ways to be Jewish. May it be a year of hope, not of despair. May it be a year of wisdom, not of darkness. May it be a year of life. Let the fire we kindle be for us a warming flame, whose brightness shows us the path of life.
Wisdom in our minds, passion in our lives. These candles give light to all who behold them. May we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us.
Their brightness
Of our ancestors. Without hope, even the day is like night.
Na'er ha'or ba'olam.
How wonderful is the light within the world.
Na'er ha'or ba'adam.
How wonderful is the light within each person.
Na'er ha'or ba'yom tov.
How wonderful is the light of the holiday.
Begambach,
This Rosh Hashanah, each of us enters this gathering with a different need. We are stirred by memories as we recall the days that have gone by. Some hearts are full of gratitude and joy. Some are overflowing with the happiness of love and life. Some are eager to greet the day to make the world more fair and just. Some have recovered from illness or have escaped misfortune, and we rejoice. Some of our hearts are filled with sorrow. Disappointments weigh heavily upon others. Some families have been broken. Some of our loved ones are ill. Some of our cherished family and friends have died. May all we find comfort and empathy. Some of us are embittered. Life has lost its meaning and value. We have sought answers in vain. May the knowledge that we are searching restore our hope in truth and purpose. Now we look ahead with hope, grateful for the daily gift of renewal, for the promise of good to come. May this Rosh Hashanah be our day of rebirth into life and peace, serenity, and safety as the new year begins.
To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to reap, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to laugh, a time to weep. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to build up, a time to break down, a time to dance, a time to mourn, a time to cast away stones, a time to gather stones together. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time of love, a time of hate, a time of war, a time of peace, a time you may embrace, a time to refrain from embracing. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to gain, a time to lose, a time to rend, a time to sow, a time for love, a time for hate, a time for peace. I swear it's not too late.
Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are traditionally referred to as Yamim Noraim, the days of awe. Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, is celebrated on the first day of the 7th month, Tishri. Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, comes on the 10th day of Tishri. These holidays differ from other Jewish holidays in that the mood is not one of joy and celebration, but of profound, serious reflection. Therefore, the name Days of Awe. They also differ from other holidays because they are not related to any historic event.
Various ancient peoples observed the new year at different times. The Babylonians began theirs in spring, and the Egyptians began theirs in summer. The Jews started theirs in fall.
Modern cultures continue to observe the new year at different points. Nowruz, the Persian New Year, is celebrated on the first day of spring, the vernal equinox. Muslims mark the new year on the first day of Muharram, the first month of the year, according to the lunar Islamic Hijri calendar. Many Asian cultures celebrate Asian Lunar New Year between January 21st and February 21st, depending on when the new moon of the first lunar month falls. As Judaism evolved in the rabbinic period, the high holidays marked more than the beginning of the year. They assumed a powerful and awesome religious significance. An omnipotent Yahweh now undertakes an annual accounting of humanity, especially of the Jews, rendering an initial verdict on Rosh Hashanah and a final judgment on Yom Kippur. Thus evolved the high holiday greeting, Lashana Tova Tikatevu, may you be inscribed in the book of life for a good year.
Lashana Tova Tikatevu, Lashana Tova Tikatevu, a good year, a year of peace we wish to you. One more time. Lashana Tova Tikatevu, Lashana Tova Tikatevu, a good year of peace we wish to you.
With the emergence of the secular age and an emphasis on logic, science, and reason, the holidays have continued to evolve. New humanistic themes of self-reflection and self-examination emerge alongside traditional notions of divine judgment and divine terror. For us, these new ideas have taken the place of the old. We spend our time in introspection and reflection. For us, the high holidays are not a fearsome time, but an opportunity for assessment, repair, change, and growth. It is up to us to take advantage of them. Our ancestors declared the dreaded power of this day. We are mindful of its important purpose in our lives. They stood in judgment, their fates weighed in the balance. However, we stand in self-evaluation, our choices equally measured. They implored and beseeched and asked for atonement. We introspect and reflect and seek self-awareness. They confess before each other. We examine ourselves and our relationships with others. Like them, we stand poised before an ever-unfolding book of life. We believe it is written by our deeds and by the events that befall us. We strive to take responsibility for our lives and write the pages ourselves, and accept with courage and dignity the pages over which we have no control. Without renewal of mind, there is no transformation. Hope is the last thing ever lost. When the world says, give up, hope whispers, try it one more time. We must not act on our hope every day until we have accomplished what we wanted. With so much unraveling before our eyes, hope is often the only thing that keeps us going. There's something deep inside us that tells us to look for better times around the corner. Every sunrise is like a new page, a chance to write ourselves and receive each day in all its glory. Because I have known despair, I value hope. Because I have tasted frustration, I value fulfillment. Because I have been lonely, I value love. When I let go of what I am, I become what I may be.
Shema Yisrael, Hadir Givudenu, Achanu Echad.
Please say with me, loving life with all our heart and all our spirit, all our senses and strength, we take upon ourselves these promises to care for the earth and those who live upon it, to pursue justice and peace, to love kindness and compassion. We will teach this to the next generation throughout the passage of each day, as we dwell in our homes and as we go on our journeys, from the time we rise until we fall asleep. And may our actions be faithful to our words, that generations to come may live to know truth and kindness have embraced, peace and justice have kissed and are one. When we gaze on distant stars, when we stand above the mile-deep canyons, when we are embraced by the universe, we draw peace for the world around us. When we marvel at sunset's glory, when we hear the ocean's roar, when we are soothed by a flower's aroma, we draw imagination and creativity from nature's beauty. When we cry at the glory of birth, when we weep at the sorrow of death, when we exult in the joy of love, we draw hope and comfort from the lives that surround us. I strive to live a life of self-reliance. I strive to live a life of self-confidence. I strive to live a life of personal courage. If I'm not for myself, who will be for me? I depend on others as they depend on me. I nurture others as they nurture me. I draw strength from others as they draw strength from me. If I am only for myself, what am I? Life is fleeting. I can wait or I can act. Life is fleeting. I can deliberate or I can take a step. Life is fleeting. I can choose to live or not to live. If not now, when?
Time.
Life brings random encounters and chance events. Life can also be moments and seized opportunities. Life follows repeated journeys and well-traveled paths. Life can also be unexpected adventures and new challenges. Life consists of routine activities and ordinary obligations. Life can also be meaningful goals and purposeful deeds. Life allows for quiet solitude and separate lives. Life can also be precious relationships and shared visions. Life reflects on joyful accomplishments and sorrowful regrets. Life can also be planning for bright new days and even better tomorrows. When we lift up the fallen, when we comfort the bereaved, when we feed the starving, when we look beyond ourselves, then we live a meaningful life. When we let others comfort us, when we let others teach us, when we let others guide us, when we open ourselves up to others, then we live meaningful lives. When we cherish our roots, when we treasure our heritage, when we teach our children, when we look to our past and future, then we live meaningful lives.
Where do our teachings come from? What are the sources of our wisdom? We have a wealth of resources to draw upon. We find lessons in time-honored ancient writings passed down and written in oral form by esteemed rabbis and teachers.
We find teachings in modern literature, poetry, and drama, as well as academic and scientific journals that address contemporary situations and challenges. We draw lessons from the collective experiences of all people, the Jewish people, our families, and our own lives.
The prophet Isaiah teaches us about peace. Let nation not lift up sword against nation, nor let them study war anymore.
Saul of Tarsus teaches us about freedom. I have the right to do anything, you say, but not everything is beneficial.
Yiddish proverbs offer obvious truths and earthy observations. If you can't do what you want, do what you can. If you eat the bagel, you're left with a hole.
The purpose of human life is to serve and to show compassion and the will to serve others.
It is not enough to talk about peace. One must believe in it. And it isn't enough to believe in it. One must work at it. Learn from yesterday, live for today, hope for tomorrow. The important thing is not to stop questioning.
All sorrows can be born if you put them into a story. Accept the truth from whatever source it comes.
The lessons are mixed. There is no one source of wisdom. There is no single source of truth. We search for wisdom everywhere.
Honoring our ancestors. Mighty and powerful is the wellspring of life, the source of our being and our ancestors' being. From their generation to our generation, we are bound by acts of love. We remember their good deeds with thanksgiving. Their good acts are our inspiration. We remember our ancestors with love and respect. May their children and their children's children do honor to their name.
Love of elders. We are thankful for the gift of life and the wisdom of our elders. From generation to generation, they are the foundation upon which we have built our lives. Love of youth. We are thankful for the gift of life and the joy of young people. From generation to generation, they are the hope for the future upon which we build our lives.
So this is one of our favorite parts of the service. This is Hine Matov, and Jennifer and I are going to come down there, and we historically typically do this in the round. We're all going to start together, and then I will stand here, and you guys will sing with me, and Jennifer will stand there, and that side will sing with Jennifer, and we will do a number on this number. Let's do it.
Ancestors stood and declared tenets of their faith. We too take a stand and affirm the values of our heritage. Ahava, Shlom Bayit, Derech Eretz. Let another praise you and not your own mouth, a stranger and not your own lips. Gmilut Chasadim, Bikur Cholim, Achnasat Ochim. You shall not wrong strangers or oppress them, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. Chokhmah, Binah, Da'at. Hear, my child, your parents' instruction, and reject not their teaching. Emet, Tzedek, Tzedakah, Mishpat. You shall do no injustice in judgment. You shall not be partial to the poor or defer to the great. Pikuach Nefesh, Tshuva, Chirut. You shall not hate anyone in your heart, but you shall love your neighbor as yourself. Achamim, Simcha, Hodaya. Pleasant words are like a honeycomb, sweetness to the soul and health to the body. Kihila, Mishpacha, Shem Tov. A good name is to be chosen rather than great riches, and favor is better than silver or gold. Zikaron, Tikva, Tikkun Olam, Shalom. From generation to generation, we declare and proclaim ourselves to be heirs to a tradition of caring, justice, and peace. From generation to generation, we learn the values of our heritage.
You
celebrate and affirm our Jewish identity. A Jew is someone who identifies with the history, culture, and future of the Jewish people. We make connections to our past through our ancestors and to our future by leading meaningful lives. We believe that Jewish identity is best preserved in a free, pluralistic environment that honors all cultures. The freedom and dignity of the Jewish people must go hand in hand with the freedom and dignity of every human being. Human beings possess the power and responsibility to shape their own lives, independent of supernatural authority. Jewish history is a human saga, a testament to the significance of human power and human responsibility. We believe in the gift of human reason and the strength of human potential to shape our own lives. We believe in the nobility of human fellowship and the joy of unity.
Aspirations. Where there is ignorance and superstition, we will bring enlightenment and knowledge. Where there is prejudice and hatred, we will bring acceptance and love. Where there is fear and suspicion, we will bring confidence and trust. Where there is tyranny and oppression, we will bring freedom and justice. Where there is poverty and disease, we will bring prosperity and health. Where there is strife and discord, we will bring harmony and peace.
Human spirit, human mind, heart of humanity, bring us all together as one. We are part of one great family, and our family sings in one chorus. We are part of one world symphony, though the song of life began before us. We each had our own harmony, so sing out and rejoice. We are part of one great chorus. Each voice adds its own harmony. Every child is born to sing. We all add our voice in time. Words and deeds are lyrics we sing to the music, rhythm, and the rhyme. Each beat of your heart adds a measure to life's ever-growing melody. So sing out, rejoice, we are a part of one chorus and one family. How glorious to be a part of one great chorus and part of one great family. How glorious to be part of one great chorus and part of one family.
I will not die an unlived life. I will not live in fear of falling or catching fire. I choose to inhabit my days, to allow my living to open to me, to make me less afraid, more accessible, to loosen my heart until it becomes a wing, a torch, a promise. I choose to risk my significance, to live so that which comes to me as seed goes to the next as blossom, and that which comes to me as blossom goes on as fruit. This moment, this day, this community grants me the time and permission to search within, to find knowledge and courage, to fashion my way forward.
On Rosh Hashanah, we reflect. On Yom Kippur, we consider. Who shall live for the sake of others, and who, when they die, shall leave behind a heritage of love and life? Who shall be serene in every storm, and who shall be troubled by every passing breeze? Who shall be poor in the midst of possessions, and who shall be rich, content with their lives?
Meaning to our fleeting days. Who are we? What are we? A leaf in the storm? A fleeting moment in the flow of time? A whisper lost among the stars? We are tenants in the house of life. Our days on earth are but a span. Time like a river rolls on, flowing year after year into the sea of eternity. But conviction and purpose give meaning to our fleeting days. Treasured teaching guides us. Unquestioning love sustains us. We give the knowledge and strength to the responsibility. May we be released from bondage to the past, released from the stranglehold of bad habits, making ourselves free to start afresh. Let this be for us the beginning of a new season of life and health. May we be liberated from the fear of death and from the scornful laughter that mocks our labors. Lord, sure. Knowing our failings, let us be patient with those of others. Knowing our will to goodness, may we see others as they did better than us.
We pause now for a moment of silence.
Naaseh shalom olam, Naaseh shalom aleinu, v'yakol haolam, v'yimru shalom, Naaseh shalom ba'olam, Naaseh shalom aleinu, v'yakol ha'olam, v'yimru shalom. Naaseh shalom, Naaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, v'yakol ha'olam. 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 Naaseh shalom, Naaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, v'yakol ha'olam.
Shana Tova, everyone. There's something in the air. It's not only the whiff of autumn or the very beginnings of red leaves on my dogwood tree. It isn't only the electric energy I sense as I talk to people or the willingness to boldly go out in the world. It isn't only that the war has shifted in Ukraine's favor or that people are angry and motivated to go to the polls to protect women's right to choose. It is all these things and more. It is hope, one of the key ingredients of resilience, which is the theme of our holidays this year. Hope that we can do things in this world and make it a better place. One of my favorite dialogues about hope is from The Shawshank Redemption between Red and Andy Dufresne, two of the film's protagonists. Andy has just spent a week in solitary confinement, and he speaks of the music that sustained him. He speaks of Mozart. He says, "You need it so that you don't forget." So you don't forget that there are places in this world that are not made out of stone, that there's something inside that they can't get to, that they can't touch. "What are you talking about?" asks Red. "Hope," Red answers. "Let me tell you something, my friend. Hope is a dangerous thing. Hope can drive a man insane. It has no business in the inside. You better get used to that idea." When I've tried to speak about hope in recent months, I've been challenged. Some people interpret my thoughts on hope as ignoring reality, as Panglossian optimism, as pretending the COVID-19 pandemic is over. I've apologized. I do not think the pandemic is over. 400 people a day are dying from COVID in the United States, and there is always a new variant around the corner. Our scheduled speaker for today cannot come because he just tested positive. Russia is still brutalizing the Ukraine. Refugees are being used as pawns in cruel games of brinksmanship. In some states, women can no longer make safer, productive choices. How can I speak blithely of hope in these circumstances? I do not and cannot ignore any of this reality. What I'm talking about is a state of mind, a willingness to do things, to take risks, to use hope as a catalyst. And I don't want to stop talking about hope, because hope has sustained me and so many of us through the pandemic and so many other difficult times. This may be construed as trite, as obvious. You may say, isn't that the definition of hope? Sometimes the obvious needs to be repeated. Sometimes we need to be reminded. Sometimes we need to be reminded that there is good on the horizon. A few years ago, I shared this poem about hope with the GCC community. What is hope? Hope is hearing your baby's heartbeat after his twin vanished. I want to call him a baby, not a fetus. Hope is hearing that your child is not mentally retarded. He just is selectively mute, and one day he will choose to talk, and I will hear him. Hope is hearing your child pray to a God you don't believe in and breaking your heart with the sweetness of his voice. And what, my love, is a broken heart? It is the piercing of your reservoir of tears by this dagger of hope so that you may finally cry. I have cried a lot during this pandemic, and it was cathartic. And finally, as I took my vacation this summer, I underwent a switch. I decided, like many people, that I had to move on and to start experiencing life to the fullest once again, to use hope as my catalyst. I will never, never ignore the harsh tolls these past 2.5 years have imposed upon us. I know too many people who have died, too many people who live with debilitating long COVID, who continue to suffer. I will continue to be careful. I am also adamant that as a society we learn from the pandemic, that we don't pretend that COVID never happened, that we become better, more compassionate, that we don't leave people behind, that we include and accommodate, that we let go of some of our anger. At the same time, it is very healthy to make an adaptive switch to live with a different mindset than we have in the past 2 years, to stop living life in a constant state of emergency. What is the balance? How do we maintain a hopeful attitude? I was speaking to 2 psychologists I admire about whether I should go to my karate class prior to Rosh Hashanah. I have only recently started attending again. My children are finally old enough that for me to be able to leave them with only one parent at bedtime. I missed it so much. And yet, I was afraid that I would catch COVID before Rosh Hashanah and not be able to be here. I was told by these wise women that I should go to my karate class, that I should engage in this activity that is important to me. I struck a balance. I decided to go to karate with an N95 mask. We can strike these balances. We can acknowledge the existence of the pandemic in our lives, but also do the things that we love doing and also try to live our lives to the fullest. That balance, that compromise is different for everyone. My favorite biblical writer is Ecclesiastes, a heretic and a doubter. Ecclesiastes is often seen as a depressing book. After all, the book begins with and ends with the words, "Vanity of vanities, all is vanity," and speaks of futility of everything many times. But actually, Ecclesiastes, or Kohelet, was a pragmatic optimist, a man of balance. He acknowledged the difficult reality, and then he exhorted his audience to live life to its fullest. And how do we do that? What do we do that? We find a way of enjoying our labors. We do that by finding a way to enjoy our labors, of being happy while we do the difficult work of making the world a better place. I recently installed solar panels on the roof of our home. And my son Boaz, my ray of blonde sunshine, was so thrilled and obliviously bragged to everyone within hearing. Boaz embodies youthful optimism and hope, and I draw from that. I live for those precious moments. All my investment in time and resources, the hours of tedious work, were repaid and then some by the look in Boaz's face. I had taught him that I deeply valued sustainability and that perhaps he should value it too. There is so much work to be done, and it can be so hard and tedious, and at the same time, it can be rewarding. We may also want to shift the way we process the world. Today's newspapers are mostly full of grim headlines about inflation, about corrupt politicians, about war, about natural disasters. Bad news sells. Bombastically bad news sells even more. Bad news is also depressing. But there's a lot of good news out there. We just have to know where to find it. The Washington Post, for example, has the Optimist newsletter that they send every Sunday and Wednesday, highlighting what's hopeful. I read about the new technologies that could make air conditioning more sustainable just today. We can also make a resolution that for every depressing article we read, we also find a happy one. And we can take weekly sabbaticals from the news, a day or two where we don't click and instead read a book or watch a funny show. Finally, another trite point, but also worth repeating again and again. The best way to maintain hope is to be with friends and community, to make sure to celebrate and mourn together, to maintain and revitalize old connections and make new ones. Thank you for being here and doing that. As I end this sermon, I want to speak for just a moment of another ingredient of resilience, and that is endurance. Judaism is among the most enduring cultures. We've been around for thousands of years. In the course of these years, we've constantly contended with adversity, adapted to new countries, new circumstances, and have created rich and meaningful lives for ourselves, and have fought for constructive change, for tikkun olam, and we can continue to do that. For thousands of years, our liturgy has celebrated hope, so much so that the Israeli national anthem is called Hatikva, the hope. As Andy Dufresne writes to Red at the end of the Shawshank Redemption, hope is a good thing, maybe the best of things, and no good thing ever dies. I will be hoping with the rest of you for a better tomorrow, and I will work to make it happen. Shana Tova. So instead of our scheduled speaker, what we're going to do, something we have done often on Yom Kippur, we're going to do instead today on Rosh Hashanah, we're going to have a discussion about resilience. So as you can tell, I have offered some advice of my own on how we can be resilient, how we can maintain hope. But I want to offer the community an opportunity to weigh in to suggest ideas as well. So if you want to speak, just raise your hand and the microphone will be passed to you.
As opposed to passing, I may try to hold it so that we're not passing it around.
Okay. So anybody want to be the first to take the plunge? Alan.
Just so used to that sort of thing. Stand up.
Yeah, stand up.
Hi. Laughter. Just laugh. There's a lot of nutty things in this world that are still worth laughing at. So do that. Ha.
Susan?
So, resilience is hard because we've had to be very resilient over the last 2 to 3 years. And it's difficult. I mean, I know we're getting better at it, but I think it's difficult to see that sometimes. And I think we have to try to maintain a certain optimism and faith in ourselves that we can overcome these things. But it's a very hard thing to do.
Yeah, I'll add in the face of, with what's been going on, resilience becomes even more difficult when the circumstances exacerbate any other existing conditions, especially mental health conditions. And there are so many individuals who are suffering that need to seek out additional assistance to really kind of gather that resilience to keep going.
My name is Bruce.
Hi, Bruce.
Hi, Bruce. Resilience. When you brought up that topic, I said to myself, I was on a plane once, and the person next to me, something goes wrong with the plane. I had my son with me. Said, put the oxygen mask on you, so you therefore could save him, if it's possible to save. So put the mask on first, which is self-care with your health, with my health, I can't tell you what to do, and my spiritual resilience, and my emotional resilience. And how I get those emotional resilience, I show up. The journey to get here was unbelievable. I'm turning 79, but that's just a number. So I'm putting the mask on myself, the air in myself, the spirituality in myself, the emotional in my life, through your song, for your sharing, through your song, through everybody being here. So take care of yourself in this new year, love yourself. Because you love yourself first, you can love somebody else. That's how I see resilience at the moment.
Thank you, and thank you, Bruce. I think resilience is something that we practice. I think a lot of times people think of resilience as a reaction. I just want to offer that I think resilience is a practice and things that you can do every day to strengthen yourself and be prepared for being resilient. And one of those things that you can just do is say, what's one thing I'm looking forward to today? Every day, and just start your day with asking yourself, what will you look forward to?
Hi everyone, I'm Sam. I'm a climate scientist and I study deforestation. So people often say, doesn't that make you depressed? How do you keep going? And I focus on solutions and I try and let things go. And with that in mind, I keep kind of positive on the future ahead. So.
Well, I'm going to hang on to your positivity.
Out of bad things, sometimes good things come. And today, for instance, I read about two good things. Well, one was I watched a program about the plague in medieval England, and it benefited women tremendously, strangely enough, because there was such a dearth of labor, they were allowed to become apprentices and train for things. And the other thing, what was it? I can't remember now. It's sort of a variation on seeing the glass as half full instead of half empty. Oh yes, the other thing was that there's been an increase in manufacturing jobs in the United States as a result of the pandemic. Who would think? Who would know?
About 35 years ago, I met my husband, who was from Cuba, and his niece was, a young child at the time. And we tried for many, many years to get her to be able to come here, and we just couldn't. It was a really bad time in this country to get people out of Cuba. 8 years ago, she managed to get out by herself and came here, and last week she got her citizenship. And 2 weeks ago, and then last week she got her passport, and she just cried. And you don't think about how that passport is for people in the world to be able to come here.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing
Well, it's too bad my daughter isn't here because I'm going to embarrass her. When she was very little, we got lost driving somewhere. I don't remember where we were. And I was starting to be like, oh, I can't believe her. And she was looking around. She was like, oh, this is an adventure. And we were lost for a while, but we started finding things on the side of the road and laughing about them, and it was wonderful. And I don't deliberately try to get lost when I'm in the car. But to this day, it's still one of my favorite things, to get lost in the car with her, because we can go on an adventure. And that's a lesson that I forget from time to time, but I'm going to try to carry with me.
So our conversation reminded me of a quote in our service today. All sorrows can be born if you put them into a story. I'll say personally that writing has helped me bear sorrows and loss over the pandemic. In addition, just in terms of storytelling, I remember that early in the days of quarantine, Adele's Sunday school teacher, Rava Liza, invited us to watch a virtual tour of the Anne Frank house. And to me, that was an incredibly moving experience, because you think about Anne Frank and I think two things. One, that she was in quarantine, and look at the quarantine she endured. And also that she found hope and solace in writing.
So last week, Jack and I had our 35th wedding anniversary. And well, people here have been married longer than us and shorter than us. But people say to me sometimes, well, how do you stay married? And I say, well, you don't kill each other. and you just don't get divorced. And I think that attitude of just staying the course can take us through a lot. Similarly, flexibility. And if we've all learned anything over the last 3 years, sort of the ability to pivot and make quick and sudden shifts. And I think a lot about Jack's mom, who's 85, who has been in the same job, she's still working, for almost closing in on 60 years. And they had to learn how to put on a television show on Zoom. And so my 82, 83-year-old mother-in-law learned how to use Zoom. Now, I don't even have the easiest time still with Zoom. So I think that, flexibility and staying the course sort of balance each other and will get us through everything.
David, there are people in the back that want to speak.
Happy New Year, everybody. The gentleman mentioned he was going on 79. I'm going on 86. And we, as mentioned by the Rebbe, we face some very bleak times in this country. But if we don't keep fighting, they will surely come.
Hello. Oh, okay. I would like to, I'm Reba Golden. I'm 24 years old, and I want to say that for the young people, it can feel like it's our job to, as the future, to save the world from all its ills. And that can be a huge pressure and a paralyzing force. So I guess I want to say that we need to focus on what we can do, the little things, taking care of ourselves, getting out of bed, brushing your teeth, and also the small kindnesses that are within reach, such as holding the door for a stranger or giving a snack to someone who looks hungry, and to remind us young people that a ton of small acts of kindness that can be easy to achieve still make a huge difference.
I'm Ari. I just wanted to share that for me, dance is a lovely way of expressing that resilience to people. And I also want to mention that I started a secular humanistic group at my college recently, and 12 people showed up to the first. I go to Sarah Lawrence College, and it was just really lovely, and people were like, I've done this before, even though they haven't come to a humanistic temple or anything. So it's just really lovely to share that with people, and they were very happy. So I just wanted to share that.
I want to share that I'm a kindergarten teacher at a low-income school in Harlem, and our students suffer great difficulties at home. Some students have parents that are in jail, some parents are single parents, and they come to school every single day and work so hard, learning writing, learning how to read, learning math, and if they're able to do that at 5 and 6, then we can do that as adults, and just keeping that in mind shows me to be resilient.
Hi, I'm Tara. I work at Children's Aid, and I work at a clinic with foster care children and children from the community. And when I first started, we're supposed to read the history of why they're in foster care, just so we know what to expect, because they might have just arrived. And I used to find it kind of depressing to see the cruelty of people or the neglect. But after a month or two, it kind of shifted, and I realized that so many of these kids were being taken care of by strangers, also by family members, by grandmothers who never expected to have a toddler again, by college students. And last week I had this woman who couldn't have been more than 25, 26. Her mother had adopted 3 foster children who were siblings and another one, and then her mother died last year of COVID. Because when she came in, I said, "Oh, are you here because she's at work?" And she goes, "No, she died." And I just saw her with these kids, and I thought, this young woman never expected to have 4 young children. And she was so amazing with these kids, and the kids were happy and doing really well. And it's just, I love seeing these families. It's very hopeful.
Hi, I'm Rachel. And while I completely ditto and echo all the wonderful things that have been said, there's something that always sticks in me, and that's that, we'll say kind of pro forma, we always want our kids to grow up to be resilient. Oh, we want to raise children who are resilient. And part of the reality of that is that if we're saying we want them to be resilient, we're also acknowledging that really sucky things are going to happen. And I think it's okay when sucky things happen to say that and to be in that moment of, well, suckiness, and just acknowledge that right now things are really lousy, and it's okay to feel sorry for myself. My mother used to say you get 10 minutes of self-pity and then you have to move on. I've moderated that a little bit because that seemed a little, draconian. But there is something to be said for acknowledging that things can be really rotten sometimes, and before we can embrace the courage and the power and that great thing that we're calling resilience, so much that it's a word that we just toss about, we sometimes have to be in the moment of horror and fear and sadness and be with the people who we love who are in the moments of horror and fear and sadness, and not try to make it all better, but just be there.
So I was struck by something that Susan said in the beginning, that we're getting better at it. We're getting better at resilience. I think there's so many things that we feel like we get better at. How many push-ups we can do. Public speaking, something that none of us have done for a while. Singing. Resilience is not one of those things that sometimes it feels like we get better at. Sometimes it's hard, and it gets harder and harder as we go. And I think that's okay, right? And I think acknowledging that is okay, that it can be difficult, and progress is not linear, and sometimes it feels like it's harder before it gets easier. But we're all here, and we made it, and we didn't kill each other, and we didn't get divorced, or maybe we did, which is also fine. But that's kind of what I was struck by, that progress is not linear, and see where we get to.
just want to say like a quote that my grandmother would say to me and my mom. Everything you want to do, you can do if you put your mind to it.
Hi, my name is Linda, and I wanted to share, the other night my husband and I composed something that we sent out to our very extended family and some friends, but I'd like to just read it. We were by the Connecticut River and we saw a scene, and I sent this out. I said, Shana Tova, a sweet new year, and it's a photograph of a seagull sitting on the traditional post where he's supposed to sit, except the river behind him is just about 90% frozen with ice. And we wrote this: well, it's not the dove of peace, it's the seagull of persistence. It does not fly south when the river freezes, it persists. The dove with some peace would be sweet indeed, but it and we won't get there without persistence. Here's to lives of meaning and of love for each other and for peace for our world. Shana Tova, everyone.
Thank you.
Anybody else would like to add?
There's a hand over here. Hold on.
I wanted to share, I take a class right now, government and politics. I'm a senior in high school. And a student, we were talking about like the founding of the US government. And a student said to me, you have too much faith in the US government. And now we were arguing over what we could do to make the United States better now and what was wrong when it was founded. And the reason I think I have so much faith is because of students like that, seniors in high school who want to make change, who want to go out there and protest, who want to get involved in government, who are so excited to turn 18 so they can vote. I have hope in the future because the future generation is energized. They want to get out there, and I think it keeps me resilient. It makes me want to get out there because they want to get out there too. And I just think to say that the younger generation is there. They're persistent.
Hi, I'm Melanie. I just want to say that I think we should be careful about how we define resilience, and that being persistent and strong are all good things, but I think we should be careful that it doesn't become like a moral imperative, and people who can't cope and have issues, it's not a moral failing. And I think that some of the things that people have said, and Tzemah has said, is that the important thing is community, and that's what really brings support. And taxpayers who literally actually support people who come to school because they, have had seriously awful family situations, or disabled children, or things that need physical assistance and actual, money to address the situation. So I think that it's good to be persistent, and it's good to try and get over things, but I think you have to also think that we need to, resilience is something that a community can apply to all situations.
We've got one more here. I think then we have to move forward.
Aging brings its own challenges for resilience, and I can speak to that. But I find resilience in doing whatever I can to make things better, whether it's writing letters or postcards, or I continue to do my asylum work, and no matter how difficult it becomes, I find the resilience to keep doing it because I feel I can bring hope, into myself by bringing hope into the world.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think we have one more person in the back. Yes.
So sometimes, it's Rachel, hi. Sometimes I think when you're trying to find resilience, I think connecting to yourself as like sort of an embodied being is sometimes helpful. And sometimes that's, I need to take a nap. Sometimes that's taking a walk. Sometimes it's taking a circus class, kind of depends on where you are at the time, but I think that connection can kind of help you regroup and be resilient.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Oh, we have more.
Well, I think we're going to go, I think one more.
One more, okay. Thank you.
I'm here, coming through here.
I'm Geraldine. I'm a chaplain at a hospital and hospice chaplain. And presence is what I bring, among other things, but presence, being with people, hearing their stories and hearing what they need and not telling them what they need, but hearing what they find that they want, what they can find within themselves. And some of the people I work with are in very, very difficult situations, and just being there and offering them presence.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. What participation, what good advice, so much good advice over here, so many good thoughts. It's so wonderful that we have such wisdom in this community, and I really, really appreciate it. But now I'll turn over the microphone to our president, David Klein. Sorry, David, for giving you so much exercise today.
That was fine. I guess I'm talking about resilience, but I'm not really talking about resilience. I'm talking about resilience of us here at TCC. I'm going to start off, I want to start off with thank yous, because a lot of thank yous have to go around today. Thanks to all of you for joining us today. I can't tell you, given how much time and effort so many people put into TCC, to see everybody show up here in person for the holidays is just really wonderful, so thank you. Volunteers that made this year happen. I will start off with a huge thank you to our holiday preparations master. I just made up that title. And that is Peter Monis. Where is Peter? Where is he? Did he step out? He's doing something important, I am sure. But he really was invaluable this year. It was after many years, Mitty Streeter stepped back a little bit. He was still a volunteer this year, and Peter took up those reins, and I cannot be more grateful to him for doing so. All of these other volunteers that assisted with Peter, Ben Sternhill, Jim Ryan, Rich Streen, yes, Mitty Streeter, as I said, Susan Ryan, Ellen Wyman, Emmy Zenner, Paula Streeter, Deb Freeman, Beth Lord, Isabel Kaplan, Gladys Fox, Laura Finfer, Jessica Dragov, Kathy Artis, Max Zenner, Steve Walker, Eric Binter, Ari Laser, Dan Wyman, and Trudy Ellens, and our office staff, Shauna Ortega and Adina Gerver. Thank you to all of you so much. It really does take a village to make this stuff happen. So thank you. I, of course, need to thank Rabbi Tzemah for his work not only for the holidays, but throughout the year. My fellow song leader here, Jennifer Klein. Thank you. Jordan Klein, who was a gift this year after our previous musician had to suddenly, after saying, yes, I'll be there, had to abscond for a music directing gig in another state. So Jordan stepped in and knows this music, so grateful to her. I also would like to thank the entire board of directors. For those that are here, if you could please stand up, people on the board, please. Our board volunteers to do this work all year long, and it is far more than just coming to a meeting once a month, and we all need to be grateful for the board and for their volunteerism. I especially would like to call out members of the executive committee, and that is Isabel Kaplan, Susan Ryan, Daniel Carney, and new to the executive committee this year is Alicia Leonard. And when I took this role, one of the things that I had mentioned after there was a wonderful reign prior to me, Dan Wyman, who's sitting over there, is that time will be limited, so it has to be a group presidency. And I have to tell you, they've come through in that. They are just so wonderful to work with and give so much to TCC every day. So thank you. Now, speaking of volunteerism, here's where I call on you guys a little bit. We really desperately need your help. These people that have volunteered today and the board of directors, the executive committee, it is a lot for individuals to take care of, but there's so much that has to be done. There are so many committees that need to be staffed with people to make things run properly and do all that we want to do. Nothing can be achieved without members' assistance. Let me just talk about the committees for a second that we have. The Kids School Committee, the Membership Committee, the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Committee, Strategic Planning Committee, the Adult Perspectives Committee, the Fundraising Committee, the Caring Committee, and I'm sure I'm missing some of these committees, but those are just to name some of them. And we do not have enough people now filling these roles, and some of the committees are slightly dormant, not completely dormant, but because we need more volunteerism. So please think about joining. To get involved in any of our committees, or to make suggestions for other activities that you yourself may want to do with TCC's support, contact me directly. That's the easiest way I'm going to do for right now. It's so easy. It's easy to remember, david.klein@citycongregation.org. So just reach out to me. You could, of course, always contact the office at our information, email address, or phone them, but you can contact me directly if you would, please, decide to get involved. I mentioned the fundraising committee. Here's the next part I know everybody loves. Just so you know, our annual fund drive has begun. So if you haven't already, you will receive contact from one of your fellow members. Again, we're volunteer-driven here, so it's the membership often with the assistance of our staff that does make these contacts. We do need the financial support of our members to support all of the activities. TCC has always attempted and succeeded in keeping our membership dues relatively low, especially compared to other congregations in New York City. But it has become harder and harder over the last years to do so. The current membership revenue cannot possibly support all that we do and all that we want to do. And we also understand the financial challenges that so many are experiencing in the current economic environment, so we haven't raised our dues. However, for those of you that can and would like to lend additional financial support to a worthy cause, please consider the City Congregation for Humanistic Judaism. Your contributions are tax deductible. I'd like to highlight, as I talk about this, one of our committees that absolutely can use your support for some of the most wonderful work that TCC does, and they will be continuing to do it for sure in the coming year, and that is our Caring Committee. The Caring Committee has become a very strong committee over the last few years. This committee is headed by Kathy Artis, and she is joined by members Devera Witkin and Ellen Wyman, and the committee has been able to connect with members, and Susan Ryan, of course, sorry, and connect with members at most difficult times and let them know that TCC is here. And they've been able to also express TCC's excitement and congratulations for times of joy. The hard times over the past years have been greater in volume, I just want to say. So it is a really wonderful committee that speaks to community here. So that's one way that any additional funds would be used to help support that committee and continue to do that work. But again, it would be used in so many ways throughout all of the activities of TCC to keep us going in the best way possible. If you'd like to donate, citycongregation.org/donate. I know this is horrible. It's holidays. We shouldn't do this, but this is my opportunity to have all of you here. So that is a way that you can do it, or you can just go to our website and click on the menu, get involved, and then the donate button comes up. that's all I have to say today, and I appreciate you listening to me, and again, thank you all for being here, and we are going to take a 15-minute recess, and then we're going to come back. It looks like Tzemach has an additional announcement. Okay, someone pointed. Yes. Thank you so much, Melanie. I just want to grab people before you get up because I forgot one little portion that I'm supposed to do here, and those are the announcements. Sorry, very quickly. Some of the things coming up in the next months, just to get through this quickly. Class, we have the Reading Biblical Stories through the Humanistic Eye. The next class is on September 29th. That's 10:30 a.m. It's online. We have our weekly Zoom schmooze. The next one is September 28th, 7:30 p.m. That happens on Wednesday nights, and it's just a way for congregants to get together, have a chit-chat, some fun, talk about topics. The secular Tashlich service is on October 2nd at 1:45 p.m. in Central Park. I just want to say all of this stuff is on the website, okay? Kids' School Picnic, October 2nd, also, and at 3 o'clock in Central Park. Then we have our Talmud for Secular Jews, October 3rd, also online, 7 p.m. And of course, our Kol Nidre service on October 4th at 7:30 p.m. right here in this space. The Yom Kippur service, of course, follows the following morning on October 5th at 10:30 a.m. We are going to get back to doing something that we haven't done in 3 years, which is our adult perspectives. And we are planning for the first one on October 23rd. That's during kids' school. Please, everyone, come. We are going to do our very popular, for the first one, food and Jews. And we don't know what the food is going to be. In past, we've done babka comparisons, bagel comparisons, knish comparisons. And Jennifer is going to lead this adult perspectives and says to anybody, because she hasn't picked the food yet, you have an idea and you want to bring it up? Jennifer@kleins.com. Super easy. Jennifer@kleins.com. Contact her, and we usually do a tasting and a vote about the best food, and we also talk about the history of the food for that time. So we're getting back to adult perspectives, and we're really excited to do that. 15-minute recess. Okay, please take your seats, everybody. Welcome back. I know at the beginning of the service, you've all been doing a wonderful job with helping with the singing. I'm reiterating it now, especially for this song. We really need your assistance here because we're finding as the years have gone by and we've been doing this, that this song has not becoming easier but harder each year. You lose flexibility as you age, and we're losing our flexibility in our mouth, so we need your voices. I don't care if you don't know the words. Just shout, blah, 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 is fine to drown us out as we butcher the words of this song, okay?
Yeah.
So please sing along.
Bashana habaa nasheb al hamirpaset v'nitzbor tziporim noridot ילדים בחופשה ישחקו תופסת בין הבית לבין השדות לא תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה לא תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה counting birds as they fly through the sky. Watching birds in the fields, this will be our tomorrow, while our children rejoice outside. Wait and see what a world it can be, if we care, if we share, you and me. Wait and see what a world it can be, if we care, if we share, you and me.
Thank you all.
Let us rejoice in the light of day, in the glory and warmth of the sun, in the reawakening of life to peace and contentment. We rejoice in the light of day, in the earth with its hills and valleys, its widespread fields of grain, its fruit and hidden treasures. We rejoice in the beauty of earth, in our cities of diverse peoples and cultures, in all their rich maze of buildings, streets, and avenues. We rejoice in the diversity of cities, in the love of people who have nurtured our lives, with whose support we have gone forth to our work in the world. We rejoice in their love, in the children who brighten our lives, whose eager minds and hearts are the promise of tomorrow. We rejoice in children, in the fullness of a meaningful life, in the friends who share our sorrows and joys, and in the time we spend with loved ones. We rejoice and shall rejoice forevermore. Not a great segue. When so many know hunger, when so many know suffering, it's hard to savor our portion. When so many know pain, when so many know oppression, it is hard to enjoy our freedom. When so many know bigotry, when so many know injustice, it is hard to believe in fairness. When doubts are great, when uncertainties are real, it is hard to feel at peace. When there is torment in our hearts, when there is confusion in our minds, it is hard to dream of tranquility. Yet we must resist the temptation to succumb to despair. We cannot allow the harshness of our days to diminish our dreams. As we sound the shofar, we allow its piercing sound to remind us of the vision that is not yet lost, but is yet to be realized. Rosh Hashanah calls us to take stock and to take measure. It is our wake-up call. A call to action, challenging us to resist evil, to strive for justice, to create peace.
Tekiah, Shivarim, Teruah, Tekiah Gedolah.
We have contemplated as individuals our life's journey and our life's path. As Rabbi Hillel says, if I'm not for myself, who am I? We awaken now to a life renewed with purpose and hope. We have assembled together as individuals to forge a group, to break down barriers and walls between us, to listen and to share, to reach out to others and to let others reach out to us. As Rabbi Hillel says, if I am only for myself, what am I? We awaken now to a community renewed with purpose and hope. We have affirmed that the freedom and dignity of the Jewish people must go hand in hand with the freedom of every human being. We are one world, many people. We shall make peace for us and for all the world. As Rabbi Hillel says, if not now, when? We awaken now to a world renewed with purpose and hope. L'shana tova u'metuka. May you all have a sweet new year. May it be a good year. May it be a year of peace. Please remember to put your books back in place on the stands and take your candy as you leave.
Yes, thank you. See you for Kol Nidre, everybody.